Hi, my name is Sean Smith, and I wanted to offer you some tips and strategies for hybrid, blended, fully online learning for our pre-K through 12 student. So, wanted to continue on with these ideas, and one additional idea in the home environment is to set up a system. We need to help parents get their child organized. We do this early. We remind often the shoulder weight on the parent, what we're asking of the parent or the adult at home, will be reduced. It really will. It will make learning more efficient. It will make learning more efficient. I'm having trouble with efficient and effective, aren't I? But also engaging, because the child's going to have a little bit more ownership, be a little bit more able to self-monitor. And we're going across the ages here. We're talking kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. Now, with that, one thing we need to think about is some of the organization that we automatically offer in the school environment. In the school environment, we have bookshelves full of plastic containers that each child owns and controls. It may be something the school bought, and it may be something that we get out of our school catalogs that are unique to schools. Well, we may say, well, wait, first of all, our home is not a school, and we're not trying to create the classroom. We don't, we have furniture, we have a dining room, we have a kitchen, we have, whatever place we have. We don't have space for this. Well, what I'm sharing with you is the fact that there's organization. And the beauty of the organization is it allows the student, one, to be organized. Two, it allows for the efficiency of the learning. Where are my materials? What resources do I have? How am I supposed to use these? Well, we keep them organized and consistent. Now, in the home environment, we may do something like, oh my gosh, if you have an IKEA or a similar store like that near you, you can go and find a bunch of resources and pay for those and design themselves. Or you can get the beautiful wicker baskets and put them into different bookshelves that are organized for those wicker baskets, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you could do that. Or you could just get some plastic containers, Tupperware containers, and simply put some masking tape on them or duct tape and write out what's on top of, what's inside those. It could be markers, it could be pencils, it could be papers, it could be folders, and then keep them organized somewhere nearby. So when learning starts, you bring them out, you unfasten them, you get everything organized. When you're done, you stack them back up and put them back into the Tupperware or the container and put them away. Now, I offer this because one of the first times I saw a fully online learning environment in a home environment, this is over a decade ago, I was visiting a parent who wasn't homeschooling. She was part of this fully online school. Teacher was from afar. She had all her children. I think she had three, maybe four children. I think the four was a baby. But anyways, she had several children at home. She was a busy mother. She also did some work from the home. She also went out into the community at times. So she had to be really well organized. And she also had, I think, some teenagers, definitely some teenagers that were doing online learning at middle or high school level. Where I'm going with this is I watched her with her elementary age students, her children. And what she did is she immediately used her kitchen as a multi-purpose space. And the way she organized the kitchen as a multi-purpose space is she helped organize her children. So the kitchen, first of all, was simply a kitchen, and breakfast was had. You had breakfast, and I watched them have breakfast, and I can't recall what they had, but it was a wonderful little family breakfast. But all of a sudden, when they were done, the stuff went into the sink. They were cleaning up the dishes, and that kitchen table turned into a blank, just tabletop. The napkins went off, the placeholders went off, anything that had to do with the food and all that, that went off. Then she went over to her cabinets, opened up her cabinet doors, and inside the cabinets, yes, there were different types of beans and things of that nature, but there was also a series of these plastic containers. She pulled them out, and the students, her children, would pull out the various parts of their lessons, be it the workbooks, be it the computer, be it pencils, pens. She actually had cups, and inside those were the various writing utensils, and they would come out and be placed on that flat table, which turned into the desk. Now, the student would go along, and when it was time for lunch, everything was organized, put back into the containers, put back into the shelves, and then all of a sudden that table became a kitchen table again for lunch, and then repeat. Now, this multi-use space is going to be critical. And it may be the fact that we have some cabinet space. It may be the fact that we use a bookcase and we put the materials in the bookcase for during the school day they come out. And when they're not in school, they go back in. It could be a rolling cart that we hide in the closet because we have limited space and we just roll it out in time for school. But helping a child be organized in that manner is going to go a long, long way. And again, empowering mom and dad with these ideas, with these tips, with these strategies, maybe even sending some of these materials home as printed off to say, hey, use this as a visual support or as a calendar or something along those lines can go a long way. Now, with that said, back to schedules, as I was mentioning just a moment ago, these schedules could be put up in a variety of different ways as well to get the child organized. These schedules could be placed on just simply cardboard, and the child has a cardboard laying off to the side. They open up the cardboard during school time, and there's a schedule. Maybe it's just blank cardboard inside that they put up on a kitchen table to separate themselves from their other sibling, and so they're not being distracted. They're not trying to see themselves as arguing between each other. Instead, hey, this is my space. This is your space. These are the strategies we want to use to be able to facilitate it. Now, it could also be used in terms of where to place schedules and where to provide routines and things of that nature. Vocab, math facts, spelling words, the alphabet, they could be put inside the cabinet door. As I mentioned before with that mother, she opened up the cabinet door. There were all the materials. Well, why don't you use the inside the cabinet as the resources for the day? Leave those open while they're working. When it's time for lunch, they close the cabinet. School is done for the moment. They open back up and use them later on. So a list of different things. Now, if we're teaching hybrid blended, another thing to get organized would be to use color. And we use color a lot to organize students. What I'd urge you to do, even more so in the hybrid blended, is make sure that you're using consistent color between home and school. So if the child's being conditioned that red means this or green means that, or we're using blue for this, make sure mom or dad or the adult at home understands the same. It may even be sending some of those materials home so that they're using them in the same manner, so the child's not having to generalize saying, oh wait, in school we use this, oh wait, in home we use this. No, 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 no. Have that connection to help them organize and to use color for coding purposes as well. All right, calendars. Calendars are critical in terms of visualizing. Now, wouldn't it be wonderful, back to our HGD TV or our home networks that tell us how to design our home, wouldn't it be wonderful to have a wall of the calendar? No, 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 no. The big thing is just make it visible. And it could be inside of a cardboard. It could be inside of the cabinet. It could be simply a sheet that they have next to them that's in the Tupperware container that they pull out and put right next to them as they're working. These are simple things to allow us as parents, as adults in the home, to organize our children. Because wouldn't it be beautiful to have our parents to be as knowledgeable as us as educators, to have that independent freedom to basically be there with the child and support them day in and day out? That's just, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. This leave it to beaver, if anyone knows that analogy, this idea of a perfect space that really never existed, right? And so for us to say, don't worry, mom or dad, the adult in the home, they're going to be able to facilitate all this. It's not, but they can be empowered to organize a place, to understand where to structure things, that allows the child to be a little bit more independent, allows the child not to have to look for mom or dad when they're looking for a pen or pencil, allows the child to be a little bit more engaged because they know exactly what they need to do, and they have that level of independence. So maybe it's 30 minutes being able to connect, and then okay, mom or dad comes back in, checks, reinforces, redirects. Then maybe they get online for that hour with us, or that half an hour, or those 20 minutes with us when it comes to a video conference, and the list of things goes on. And of course, time is dependent upon the child, the age of the child, the content you're trying to cover, et cetera, and I'm getting away with myself. So what I wanted to do is reinforce organization, reinforce how we can empower the parents at home for some of those ideas. I hope I can give you some very simple things, but critical things. Now, last comment, how do I share these with mom or dad? First of all, it could be materials I create for mom or dad, or aunt and uncle, or grandma and grandpa. Videos that I create in terms of video models to share how I would use these, the purpose behind using these. Examples, it could be checklists to say, hey, in your home environment, have you organized your school materials in this manner? It could be, again, in a bookshelf. It could be in a Tupperware container. It could be, but at least you're giving them ideas of how to organize things. And then it could be how to visualize that schedule, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but having that visual schedule present, where to place it, potentially put it. Maybe it's creating some of those for them to download or sending them home as printed off things for them to utilize. These are simple things, but powerful things to empower parents, grandparents, and uncles, the adult in the home, to facilitate hybrid, blended, or fully online learning. Hope this helps.